Welcome back to the 21st episode of the Head versus Heart podcast. I'm the head because I look at rugby league supercoach and betting from an analytical perspective, and I'm joined by the heart because he looks at both of those from an emotional perspective.
And
First
as you
things
can tell,
first,
I'm a very good punter.
yeah, first things first, we should probably jump into accountability. So punting, talking punting, how'd you go last round?
Yeah, I got a comfortable 1 from 7, and I am down, I believe, $50. So have had better weeks, have had worse weeks. How about yourself?
Yeah, I was sort of luckily on the other end of the spectrum. I had, well, not the other end of the spectrum, but I had 2 from 4 with a total profit of $50 from those bets. I was down in the spreadsheet personally. Yeah, just missed one of the bets and placed some other poor bets. But yeah, at least on the bets posted in the pod, I was positive from those ones. Um, let's jump into each game of the round though.
Yep. So first game of the round was an absolutely bizarre game. So it was Tigers to a Cowboys 48. Sorry, Tigers 30, Cowboys 48. Um, did you see that coming at all?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know how to play this one, and it looked like it could go either way at points, or sort of at least if you're betting the line, it could definitely go either way. So yeah, very, very weird one to watch. But
Yeah,
what
that's
did you
incredibly
have?
bizarre. How do you put 30 points in a team and still lose by 18?
Yeah, yeah, very weird one. But sorry, yeah, what did you have in this one?
Yeah, so I had the cows by 13 plus, Val Holmes anytime, and unfortunately for me, Nanai anytime, who did not look like scoring. Thought I was
Yeah,
going to be in, like when I saw about 10 tries from the Cowboys, but no. How about yourself?
yeah,
Nothing?
no, yeah, no, nothing on that game. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game of the round. It was the Eels versus the Warriors. A bit of an upset in this one with the obviously Eels team missing a lot of players. I don't think I watched this game, but did you catch it and how did it fare for your betting?
Yeah, so into this game, I believe in the last potty, I said that I was going to put a bet on, I believe it was the Warriors with DWs at any time. I did specifically say, though, if Sean Johnson was confirmed, I was going to switch my bet, and I was a bit silly and didn't. I should have listened to myself because the Eels won by 10.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Escher actually played okay in this game, so but yeah, the Warriors seem to be going worse with him in the team this season. So
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
we'll,
It's even sadder
we'll-
is retiring at the end of the year. So,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Moving on to the next game, though, the Dolphins versus the Roosters. Very high scoring affair with 74 points in this one altogether. But my bet in this game did get up. So I had the Dolphins plus 11 and a half. And that was one leg of the head and heart bet. Sorry. We can sort of talk to the second leg, which I think should be by the time this podcast comes out. Hopefully that second leg will be up as well. Do you want to speak to that leg, sorry, quickly before you jump into the
Yep.
game?
So the other leg was Nina Kennedy in the women's pole vault. She is now currently sitting at anywhere between $1.30 and $1.50 to win gold on whatever gambling sports bets you use. That is because the favorite of the event somehow crashed out in the qualifying, and she is comfortably the favorite. So not to put pressure on her, but she should win gold.
Yeah, which would be great. Another head and heart bet would salute. But yeah, in this game, sorry, what did you have betting wise?
Yeah, so I'll get into this later, but I have crashed out of Supercoach, and part of it is because of this game. I captain Dom Young. He scored 24, and in a game in which the Roosters scored 40, he goes off injured with, I think, 50 minutes to go. So,
Yeah,
other than that, though, my bet was for this game Roosters minus 19 and a half, Young and Crichton at any time. So, yeah, as you can tell, I have lost all enthusiasm for Supercoach based on that.
yeah, yeah. I'll be adding like the ranks in, so I'll either have whatever your rank is, or I'll just have retired or something in there.
Retired hurt.
Retired, retired, emotionally hurt.
Yeah.
But the next game of the round was the Titans versus the Broncos. So the game where the Broncos sort of needed to win to keep their finals hopes alive, and they led early, and then obviously the Titans ran away with it. It was a 46-18 drubbing in the end. What did you have in
Love
this
to
game?
see it. Yep. So, this is like my one bet that got up this week, which was the Titans to win and AKP anytime. So, you got to love that.
Yeah, nice. I had the Broncos 1-12, which obviously lost. A bit of a tough one with a fair few Broncos players going down in this one. So yeah, not a game that you can get a super clear read on in
Yeah,
terms.
including none other than Payne Haas, who I brought in
Yeah,
this week. So
yeah,
another
very
reason why I'm
hard.
retiring her.
Yeah, Payne Haas as a man. But yeah, obviously Payne Haas massive super coach implications. But also betting it did not help my bet in this one.
No,
So
it didn't.
yeah, so pretty annoying. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game. We can obviously there's heaps of outs through these games. We can sort of touch on that once we jump into some of the super coach talk in each of the games. But yeah, the next one, the Storm versus the Dragons. The Dragons ended up winning this game. Is this something that you saw happening?
No, not at all. I thought the Storm would win by 30. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I had the Dragons plus 18 and a half. I didn't necessarily see them getting the win, but I definitely
Yeah.
saw a big bounce back coming from previous weeks. And I think it was a spot where the Storm had been winning a few games. Still didn't look particularly convincing in the games. So I wasn't bold enough to bet on the Dragons head to head, but I was pretty comfortable taking them at a plus 18 and a half, which obviously saluted quite easily there as my best bet of the round. The next game is the Sharks versus the Rabbitohs. Convincing victory in the end, I guess 13 plus victory for the Sharks. They won 20-6. But it didn't help my bet at all because I had over 29 and a half total points. And that obviously didn't get up. But what did you have in this one?
Yeah, I thought the Bunnies would get up. I genuinely believe the Sharks are sliding, but they're proving us wrong. So I had the Bunnies with a debutant Fletcher Myers to score, and unfortunately, neither happened.
Yeah, tough. The next game of the round was the Panthers versus the Knights, a game that we were at.
Game of the
Um,
round, if you ask me. Look, it was a frustrating watch, and to be honest, Panthers Stadium is pretty overrated.
yeah,
We couldn't see anything for half the game because people were standing directly in front of us, even though they were told multiple times by security not to.
yeah,
Um, Beers were pretty cheap though. It wasn't too bad.
yeah. Beers were not too expensive. Um, but yeah, they probably weren't trying to start a fight in Penrith. That's
Yeah, no.
yeah, that's yeah,
What
a
do you mean?
recipe
Like that was
for
one of the
disaster.
calmest places I've ever been to. Like no one there was like being rowdy whatsoever, except one bloke who kept on telling Kalen that diving was in the Olympics.
Yeah. But I'm just saying if things took a turn, probably not the place you want to be, but in a Knights jersey anyway. But yeah, no, like in terms of like betting, obviously the Knights got up on their line, so they're looking okay as a team wise, just sort of trying to be objective. But yeah, obviously frustrating to watch them lose.
Yeah, especially when you lose like the one guy who's playing well for you in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
Not a great watch, but we could. It was disappointing because I thought we'd lose by 30, but also at the same time, when you lose a close game, it's always frustrating.
yeah, for sure. Um, did you have any bets in that one?
No, I abstained because I didn't want to put a bet on for the Panthers 30 plus.
Fair enough. Next game of the round was the Bulldogs versus the Raiders. Bulldogs got home 22-18 in a tight one. Uh, yeah, Bulldogs team that's sort of flying at the moment and continue to push for finals, but the Raiders team definitely made it tough for them. So two teams that could be in and around that eight and hopefully continuing to push for their own sake. But did you have a bet in this one?
Yeah, I did. So I had the Bulldogs to win, but with Cherry and kick out to score. Uh, I didn't see it being this close, to be honest. I thought the doggies would kind of run away with it a bit. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't end up having a bet. I did sort of think about the Raiders line, so I think I don't know where the line closed at, but that probably would have got up. So a little bit frustrating. I didn't jump on that one, but yeah, no,
Mate, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
100%, yeah. Um, but let's move on. So that's sort of all the games from last round. We should, yeah, I mean, we should touch on side bets. We're still waiting for a double punishment for yourself. We got a comment on the last pod
I
that you
mean,
should shit in a hat and wear it for a podcast. But
uh,
you've
I'm probably not
opted
gonna,
for
not gonna shit in a hat. I think
yeah,
it's a bit too far.
yeah.
I'll shave your ass again if you want.
Um, you opted for a different punishment though.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge, especially if you get like one or two people doing it alongside me. You
I
know, I've got to complete it. You guys don't. So
I don't see anyone else
I reckon
trying
we
to
make a
do that.
weekend out of it.
And also, let's just not talk about what each thing is. You can just look up that challenge for yourself if you're interested.
You
But
can choose 6 wanks,
okay,
6 ears, 6 donuts, or 6 kilometers, and so on. So take your pick.
I mean, I just said we don't need to talk about what each
It's
thing is.
fine.
So
Mate, this is an M-rated podcast. There's nothing wrong with that.
true, true. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you get the gist. We'll get some of the
Get the gist.
we'll get some of the more PG parts of that on film maybe and get it happening. Or I don't know. I think you're no chance of completing that, so I don't know why you're taking that as your punishment. I think you should be doing something else, but if that's what you want to do, then fair enough. Um, let's move on from that though. We'll talk Supercoach ranks. You mentioned you're retired, but firstly, for myself, I did take a bit of a hit in this one, kind of a little bit of a strategic hit in the sense that I was already locked into the top four in our Supercoach comp, and we're moving into finals next week. So the way our comp works is first to fourth doesn't really matter where you finish. So I only brought in Bailey Hodgson. Ended with a 1-1-4-6 total with scores like poor scores from Pappenhausen and Dom Young, and fell 1K in the ranks to 12,360. But what about yourself? Do you want to speak to your score and
Yeah,
more?
look, I haven't checked it, but I know I finished somewhere around 800. I just don't really want to. I'm a retired man right now.
Yeah,
Just as much as someone doesn't check their bank account once they know they've got too much money, I don't have enough Supercoach points, so I'm not checking.
yeah, fair enough. I might still find out your rank and chuck it there just to keep a track of it where it
Better
ends
not.
up. But yeah, no, let's move on from Supercoach. Let's talk bets of the week. The first bet of the week is the head and the heart bet of the week. We'll try to make this a little bit more interesting as the season pushes on. But yeah, do you want to just take it away with what that will be?
Yep. So your leg is as a Knights fan against Tigers. So you're just picking straight up the Knights head to head. To be honest, if that's a bit cowardly to me, I'd pick them at 13 plus. And then my leg of this bet is the Australia to win the K4 500. Together that is paying $3.96.
Yeah,
Do you know what the
nice.
K4 500 is, by the way, James?
No idea.
Have a guess.
Kayaking, four-person kayak, 500 meters.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, nice. You're a big fan of it, and you just know all the athletes in and out, and that's why you're betting on it, or
No, I'm just a degenerate gambler.
you're just the heart.
No, the
Um,
Aussie pair and the K2 500 got a qualifying record or something.
mm.
So the K4 team's also pretty good.
Yeah, nice, nice. Let's try to bring a little bit more sense back to the pod though, and talk our best bets of the round. For myself, it's the Storm -7.5 in the second half. You can get that on Sportsbet at $1.84 in the second half. In particular, well, I like the Storm in particular because they're off a loss, and I like them in the second half in particular because I think they run away with it against a worse team. I think the Rabbitohs might be up for it for the first half, but then, yeah, generally, I think at this point of the season in particular, when you really need to ensure that you're winning games to be, well, Storm will hopefully want the minor premiership, but just sort of to assert yourself. Yeah, generally, it's a runaway sort of factor, and the second half is the way to bet that one if you want to bet on that type of thing. But yeah, what about yourself? What's your best bet for the round?
Yep. So I've got the Eels at a line of 16.5 against the Panthers with Blaze Talangi anytime try scorer. Together, that's $4. The way I see it, I think the Panthers didn't play well against Newcastle. I think the Eels have shown they've still got some fight in them. And on that basis, I think a line of 16.5 is more than enough. I don't think the Panthers will cover that.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll talk trades for the round. You said you've given up.
Yeah.
But yeah, for my trades, I'm just trying to trade off injuries as I think the majority of people will be doing this round. So temporarily, I've got Haas to Tarpany. I might change my mind on Tarpany by the time the game week starts, but I'm pretty sold on trading Haas out to someone. I would go like a Mitch Barnett, but Mitch Barnett, I've already got Adam Field-Blake. So yeah, at the moment looking at Tarpany. And then the other one I feel like is a pretty obvious trade is Tolu Kula to Kalen Ponga. Obviously got the Tigers matchup, and then I think the Knights probably have the best or one of the best runs home, and obviously Ponga won the Daly M medal for his performance primarily in this part of the season last year. So I think that's a pretty obvious trade to make. But if you had to make a Supercoach trade, or if there was a player you were looking at this time of the year, anyone standing out to you?
I think Ruben Garrick could be a decent pick at this time of the year, pending he doesn't get concussed again. And like you said, Kalen Ponga is a must buy for how cheap he is, and probably, yeah, I agree with Tarpany as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. We'll talk more to specific players once we jump into each game. We'll try to talk a little bit about captain choices and stuff like that as well, given it's sort of important to important to be making those kind of decisions at this point of the year. But we'll jump into the first game of the round. That is the Rabbitohs versus the Storm. Obviously, with the Rabbitohs' recent performance, a lot of their Supercoach players are going to be less relevant, but a lot of these Storm players might be more relevant. I believe you're still a Pappenhausen owner off 11 on the weekend. What are you doing with Pappenhausen?
He's Ryan Pappenhausen. That's the problem. You know, the week you drop him, he's going to score 100 points. There's just no, he's not playing well this season. But again, if you drop him, he will score points. That's just the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think you just have to hold him.
Yeah. That high upside player for myself. This is probably a spoiler into what my plans are with the captaincy, but I've said Ponga in as my second fullback, but I'm still probably going to vice captain Ryan Pappenhausen just because he does have that upside potential. If he goes and scores 20, no harm, no foul, but I think you could easily go and score 150 and then you can loop him in that situation. So I think it's a good sort of all or nothing play on Pappenhausen. So yeah, I'm a big fan of him as a vice captain option. But
Yep, I definitely agree with that. Being the first game of the round as well, it means that you've got a great VC option there. He could score 150, he could score 11, and you've kind of got protection there by doing so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just talking highest traded in players, Cameron Munster's fallen to 535k. Would you be looking at him in the 5/8 position?
Oh, definitely. If you have the spot for him, if you don't have too many of the store players already, I think he's a great play to either downgrade or upgrade from someone like a apologies. I'm blanking on the kid's name. What's the Tigers halfback again called? Galvin. That's it. Lockie
Yeah.
Galvin.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing with Munster is he's almost definitely going to be rested for the second last game of the season, which is the Cowboys, and I think that's when most people's grand final will be in Supercoach. And on top of that, I just think the drive generally, because like we saw in the last game for the Storm, they're going to have lulls because they're so far ahead, and they're locked into a top four pretty much.
Yeah, they're allowed to clock it off at this point in the year. Like they've done the work. It's just more so just waiting for the next part of the season to start.
Yeah, 100%. Basically, if I'm trading in players at this point of the season, I kind of want to be targeting those players that are in and around the 8, because there's going to be a heap of motivation for them to perform well, and they're probably not going to get rested for any games because they need to win games. So less of an appeal in terms of bringing in some of these Storm boys, but I definitely wouldn't be trading any of them out. So Jerome Hughes with some slightly colder performances recently. And then like a Pappenhausen, obviously, with some colder performances, I wouldn't really be looking at trading either of them out, especially given there's about a million different other injuries. Most people will have other flyers to put out, but yeah, I don't think you need to be bringing in any Storm players.
Indeed.
Yeah, and then Bunnies players, I don't think you need to touch any of them. Do you agree?
Yeah, strong agree with that. I accept, especially now that Cody. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely don't touch.
Yeah, they just don't look great without Latrell on the side.
Even then, Cody Walker appears to possibly be injured. I wouldn't touch him either.
Yeah. But let's talk through our bets in this one. Obviously, I've already spoken to my Storm -7.5 in the second half. Yeah, what do you have in this one?
Yeah, look, I've got a similar way of thinking. I think the Bunnies are going to get carved up, particularly probably around the middle. So I'm going Storm 13 plus with Harry Grant and Anderson, funnily enough, to score any time at $6.25. So two Grants to score and Storm to win by a lot.
Nice, nice. Yeah, obviously Grant Anderson's been in some scoring form, and Harry Grant's been scoring tries as well recently. So, let's talk the next game of the round. It is the Titans versus the Sharks in the Gold Coast.
I'm keen for this game actually. It should be a good one. Lots of points on offer.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this one is a cracker. Obviously the Titans had that massive win last week, and the Sharks are a top four team still. Yeah, top four team still at the moment. So, yeah, should be a good one. But in terms of Supercoach, uh, I know a lot of people will have both Fermor. I think his injury is a short-term injury, so I wouldn't be worried too much. Just to hold, if you do have him, obviously you can trade him out if there's a trade that you like really like and can make work. But yeah, I think there's other priorities to trade out at this point of the season. Um, in terms of trade ins, I'm just going to pull up the highest traded in players this round. Yeah, look, not too much. So like a Sam Stone Street is highly traded in. Well, about 1,000 people have traded him in. I'm not a fan of that play. He's obviously bottom dollar 200K, but I don't want a 200K player to risk as an AE. So
Yeah, but to be fair though, he's going to be playing. How long's Ronaldo out for? Is he going to be out for until round 27?
um, I'm not sure. I don't. I think he'd
Because
be back.
historically, he is playing on the Cronulla Sharks like strongest attacking edge.
Yeah.
So I think I can see why you get him. I think it's a genuine play.
Oh, there's worse moves to make for sure. I just feel like at this point in the season, most people will have guns going down, and you should have been able to make enough money already. Obviously, yeah, there's worse. Like Stone Street, if he's not playing, will probably not be on the bench, so it's not going to be too much of an
Yeah.
AE.
So what I mean is he's going to be not enough. He's going to be a high scoring player for maybe 3, 4 weeks, and then
Mhm.
once Ronaldo, the King R5 comes back, that means you've got a nuffy, so you can make some decent money off him.
Yeah, but you're not going to. Like, no one has the trades to trade him out
No, I'm
after.
saying you trade down to him and then trade up to someone else,
Yeah,
as in
but I'm
prior
saying
to it,
you don't
as in you
have.
make
No one
two
has the
trades.
trades to trade down to him and then
Yeah.
also trade him out for someone else.
No, I'm saying you don't trade him out. I'm saying you basically keep him until you know he's a nuffy and then keep him again. You
Yeah,
use
that's what I'm.
him to trade two players.
Yeah, uh, yeah, I'm saying it's not worth trading him for that. You may as well trade in like a Bailey Hodgson, who's definitely not going to play, not going to be any risk of an AE. Um, like I don't fit like who is trading in Sam Stone Street like because they need a player. Like I don't know about you, but I don't think that there's going to be very many people in that situation. I'd much rather trade like a Bailey Hodgson, who's a definite enough. Like you're not going to have enough trades to trade him out.
You know,
And
Hodgson might come
also,
back to the league, mate. I'm not sure about that. I don't think it's a definite enough,
but Bailey Hodgson also has that dual position, so you can
I
shift players
guess.
around if need. That's why I like someone like Bailey Hodgson. Anyway, yeah, so don't love Stone Street. There's not really anyone else that particularly stands out in this game. Uh, Dave Fafita's still been quieter recently, which is frustrating, but I think hopefully it plays a big role in this one. Could be a VC shout, considering no firm, or I think they may target Dave Fafita a little bit more, but and obviously should be points in this one, but yeah, he's not a must-have in terms of a trade in.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Let's talk bets in this one though. What do you have in this game?
Yep. So I have. Sorry, let me just find that. I think the Titans kind of run away with this game. I don't think the Sharks lineup's very good. I think they're slowly bleeding players, and I think they'll probably lose again. As we know, the Titans are absolutely killing it at the moment. So I've got the Titans to win with AKP, JFAF, can I call him that?
Call him whatever you want, mate.
JFAF, and then Keeney, anytime try score at $8.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you in this one. I think the Titans win last week was severely inflated because obviously there was injuries to key injuries to Ezra Mam and Payne Haas. All their points pretty much came when those injuries affected the team. Um, so I think it was an inflated win to what it should have been. So I'm not as high on the Titans for this week. And the Sharks looked good, but they didn't look amazing. But if you're going to give this Sharks team a team that was a top four team in the comp, yeah, if you're going to give me a plus in this game, I'm going to take it every day of the week. So I've got the Sharks plus 4.5 in this one. Very happy to take them, even with this Titans team looking as strong as it is.
Okay, fair enough. Here, I propose this to you, right?
Mm,
Let's do a side bet, but I'm putting up cash. So $10, Titans win. Sorry,
sure.
if the Sharks win, you get $10. If the Titans win, then you have to do the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge with me.
10. That is not worth $10 for me.
That is worth $10. That's worth the content alone, mate.
No, no, I'm not
What
doing
are
that.
you, a coward? Are you a chicken?
So, okay, first of all, the Sharks are outsiders, and I would get $10 and then have to fucking just to like ruin a whole day.
It's free money, is it not?
But I could get the Sharks at a plus 4.5 line. It's not worth it for $10.
It's $10, mate. Take it or leave it. Don't be a chicken.
Leave it.
Okay, coward. Everyone in the comments call the head a coward.
I feel like that's a head decision to
No,
rationally
it's
not
not. It's a
take my
coward's
own bet.
decision. The head's being a coward right now. What
Yeah.
are you, a chicken? We should rename you the chicken. Wait. Can I do that? Can I rename you? Yeah, I can. I'm the host.
Oh no. But you can't, that's just such
There
a
we go.
shit offer. That's like me saying like fucking let's have a bet on this game. I'll give you $10 or you bang your head against a fucking brick wall for 10 hours straight.
Let me do it. I agree to
There's
that.
no
Let's do it.
upside. There's no upside for
There
you.
is an upside actually. It's called $10.
Yeah, but like it's shit odds. Like
It sounds like you're too scared because you don't think the Sharks are going to win.
give me fucking better odds. Give me like fucking 2 grand or something if
I'm
it's
looking. What to give you 2 grand?
but that's what I'm saying. $10 is not fucking worth it for me.
$10 is definitely worth it, mate.
It's like fucking yeah. I will give
Okay,
you
the chicken.
crazy odds on $10.
Okay, the chicken.
Mate, you're the chicken. Put your money where your mouth is, mate.
Well, I don't have any money.
Exactly.
Oh, gonna be sad now.
Anyway,
Okay,
anyway,
anyway, yeah. Let's ignore that part.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Let's
and
move on to the
let's
next
move
game
on
around.
to Eels v Panthers.
Yeah. Obviously Supercoach relevancy in the Panthers team. Yeah, I have Isaac Tungo who I mean I said only, but like he scored a 67 on the weekend. Just like he looks likely and he had that try and he had a drop ball over the line. Just like frustrating. Should have
It's
been
not
more.
much. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, obviously the bloke we want to talk about is Nathan Cleary in this one.
He looked so good last week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not as good as the week before, but he still had a 90, which was very solid.
Mm.
For mine, I think you have to captain Cleary in this one, even though I'm bringing in Ponga and Ponga against the Tigers probably goes massive. I think, yeah, if the sensible, the head choice is, yeah, is to jump on Cleary as your captain. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be captaining Cleary in this one. But what about yourself? Are you captaining Cleary if you have him?
Yeah, I'd be captaining Cleary if I had him, even though I still think the Eels are probably going to keep it close. I think there's going to be a decent chunk of Cleary-based points.
Yeah. The number one traded player in this game is Isaiah Yo, though, fallen to below 600K. Would you be thinking about bringing in Isaiah Yo?
600K. I don't think Isaiah Yo does enough to really justify his price at that value. Like, he doesn't really score too many assists, and he doesn't necessarily, it's hard to
Very
justify
solid,
someone
though.
like that.
He's very solid. Like you're not
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't.
he consistently scores, but he only scores consistently, if that makes sense. He doesn't score big.
Yeah, there's not the upside factor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very consistently sort of in the 60s. So at that price point, there is value. But not enough value for me to think about jumping on him. Cleary's at 50% ownership now, but I'd probably still be keen on him if I didn't own him. Ryan Toto, some people looking at, I think he's still priced out at 768K. Yeah, honestly, not heap that really sort of interests me in this one, Supercoach wise. So if you have anything to add, we'll jump into betting. If you don't have anything to add, sorry.
Yep. No, I don't. So yeah, just to repeat, my bet of the week was that the Eels will keep this game close. So I'm going Eels at the line of 16.5 plus with Talangi anytime try scorer at $4.
Yeah, nice. For myself, I think the Panthers offered game where they didn't look super convincing. We'll probably want to put a big score on. The Eels obviously offer win. I'm not super keen to back, so my lean would be the Panthers. The only thing is the Eels are playing at home. They did actually look not bad last week. Yeah, I think 16.5 is probably just too big to take as a negative line on the Panthers. But yeah, like I said, I would lean the Panthers line in this one if I had to take a pick. But yeah, not strongly enough that I would jump on that one.
Fair enough.
The next game of the round is the Raiders versus the Seagulls, though. This Seagulls team obviously fresh off a bye, and the Raiders team fresh off a tough, gritty game against the Bulldogs. And the Seagulls team playing some pretty expansive footy at the moment. Uh, some of the Supercoach players that might interest people, obviously, the main one is Tommy Trbojevic. If you have a fullback that's gone down, is Tommy somewhere that you would be looking for this week?
Yeah, I think he'd be a good choice. I'd probably have him over Pappenhausen and get to choose the two, to be honest. But if you already have Pappenhausen, I wouldn't trade to him.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that Turbo could be a great player for the run home.
Yeah, 1.3% of teams have traded him in for this round. I believe he's the highest traded in player in this game. But yeah, for mine, I think Pong is 100% the better option, especially against a Tigers team that have looked pretty lackluster recently. And yeah, obviously the Knights need to start winning games if they're a chance. They definitely need to win this week at least if they
Yeah, yeah.
want to be a
They'll
chance.
be they'll be trying to win.
Yeah, yeah, of making the finals. But yeah, Tommy T, I think probably is the second best fullback option for this round. Maybe the second best fullback option for the run home, but Tedesco is probably pips him at the post. But Tommy T is still going to be okay. Um, I was wrong though. The highest trading play for this game is obviously Joey Tarpany. Fresh off a 98 on the weekend. That's pretty much all in, well, not in base, but base power. He didn't have a try. Just gonna double check exactly what that 98. I think he had like a line break, but heap of tackle breaks, heap of tackles and runs. So that's obviously very positive. Yeah. So no try or try assist or try contribution, but 31 tackles, 14 points in tackle breaks, 16 points in offloads, a line break, and then obviously points in runs as well. So pretty sick game from him. Would you be thinking about Joey Tarpany at
Yeah,
650?
I said like I think it's a good idea, but at the same time though, you don't want to be chasing higher scores for the sake of chasing higher scores.
Yeah,
I think he could be a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be consistently scoring 98s.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely don't expect him to be consistently scoring 98s. I just think he's the best of a bad bunch to replace Payne Haas. I was
Very true. Yeah, yeah.
really keen to run Payne Haas and Adam Fanil-Blake as my two moving forward for the end of the season. So that is tough, but Tarpany, at least he had that 98 and didn't have too much attacking output. So even if his minutes reduce a little bit, hopefully he still has a decent output. But I don't have as high expectations for him as others may, and I definitely wouldn't be trading him in if I didn't have that Payne Haas injury.
Yeah, fair enough.
Aside from that, people bring in Olakau'atu, I think is a good trade in. I held Olakau'atu through this period, so yeah, keen for him to run out. And then yeah, nothing else too interesting in this one. Anyone else? You mentioned Ruben Garrick, uh, still going to be a solid trade in. Probably goes okay in this one, especially if you think Manly are the team to back. But let's talk betting. What do you have in this game?
Yeah, look, I think the Seagulls probably run away with this one a bit. Manly are probably a more high-scoring team than the Drags. Sorry, the Bulldogs that we saw last week, and the Bulldogs scored a decent chunk of points against the Raiders. So I'm going to say Manly win by a lot, but in particular for this bet, I'm going Manly, Turbo, Sub, and Garrick anytime try scorers at 10.50.
Yeah, fair enough. That's probably like one of the most hot bets of all time. Um, but yeah, no, for myself in this game, I don't really love either team. I think a Manly team that sort of needs to score points, a lot of points, or yeah, I don't know. When they're winning games and they're playing well, they're scoring a lot of points.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's for any team, but this Manly team in particular are a team that likes to score points, not really a nitty-gritty team. I feel like going to Canberra is one of the places where you might need to be nitty-gritty. So I'm not super keen on playing the Seagulls for that reason, but I'm also not super keen on playing the Raiders, especially when they had a tough battle last week. And yeah, the Seagulls team is fresh off a bye, so a fresh team versus a tired team is sort of a reason that I don't really love the Raiders either. So yeah, no bet on this one for mine, but we'll jump into the next game of the round. The Cowboys versus the Broncos.
This should be a really fun game to watch. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this one.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously, we should probably talk the outs first because some pretty major ones for the Broncos there in Ezra Mann and Payne Haas. Equally as major in the Cowboys and Jake Bramble being out. But obviously, those two are going to have big impacts, Supercoach wise and betting wise. Payne Haas being out, I think you have to trade off him if you can. But if you're trading off him, where are you looking? If not Joe Tarpany.
Well, Fanua Blake, if you don't have him already, is probably the most obvious pick.
Mm.
Hot take here. What about Daniel Safiti? He's a guy not only playing for a contract, but he's also playing some very easy draws towards the end of the season.
Yeah, not really a player I thought of. Obviously, he had a try on the weekend, so I'm gonna see if he had an all right score with the try. Yeah, he had an 81 with the try, so that's not bad. I don't really expect him to score a heap of tries, but if you're strapped for cash, I guess there is worse options out there. But
Oh,
yes, for mine, I feel like you have a lot of money with Payne Haas obviously going down, but you can have a lot of money to trade off him. So I think I should be going for more of a premium option myself. But yeah, if you don't, for some reason, have the money, then sure you can jump on Saifidi. Um, yeah, so Payne Haas, I mean, if he had Ezra Mam, obviously I would never have had Ezra Mam, and I never would advise someone to have Ezra Mam. But yeah, jump off as well. Do you like any of the Cowboys boys in this one? Obviously, Val Holmes has been scoring well
yeah,
recently.
Val Holmes is doing well. Drinkwater's doing well again. I like Murray Talangi. I think Nanai, decent pick as well. I think he's due for a try. And yeah, Cotter's back as well. It's a decent pick of basically any name brand Cowboys player, to be honest. I would not be complaining about any of them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. Cotter's probably one of the other ones that if you're not looking at if you're not looking at Tarpany, you could look at Cotter. Obviously Cotter coming back from injury is a risk there. So I think in the front row forward, it's probably a risk you don't need to take, especially with limited trades. But yeah, it could be a nice little sort of pod option, or actually still 22% owned somehow. People have just held him. But yeah, look, Cotter's probably not a risk you need to take. Val Holmes is the highest traded in player from the Cowboys, which does make sense to me. At 686K, would you be looking at Val?
686, I think it's a great price for Val, to be honest. We know what he's capable of. He's been a lot more expensive this season as well. If he's finally found his form, then I think he's a great pick for that price.
Yeah, yeah. The other one that we were sort of targeting for this sort of round was Paddy Carrigan. He's fallen to 536K.
Must
Uh,
buy.
he's going to go up a lot in price after
Did
this
Spencer
round.
come off the field last game? Is that right? Do you have like a
He had a
HIA or something?
75, so I don't don't know, but he had a 75. So
Okay, never mind then. I must be getting confused. But yeah, I think Paddy Carrigan at 530 is a great pick, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. So that 23 that was in his rolling average will have now rolled out. So his price will start skyrocketing back up after this round. So if you
Yeah.
were looking at Paddy Garrigan, this is the week to jump on. They do have the bye next week, though, is the only thing.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so just a point to think about. Outside of those players that we've mentioned, though, not too much that I love. I'm not. Yeah, look, I'm not really too much of a fan of some of the other boys. I think most of the attacking upside, sorry, goes to Val Holmes or Scotty Drink. So if it's not one of those two, I'm not really a fan.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's talk betting in this one. What do you have and why do you like it?
Yeah, look, I think the Cowboys will score a lot of points again. I don't think the Broncos are doing all too well. So I'm going to go Cows 13 plus with Nanai, Drinkwater, and Talangi to score for $9. How about yourself?
Yeah, for myself, I sort of agree with you in the Cowboys, especially. So I think a lot of the betting strategy around this time of the year, you're looking at teams that can actually make the eight and are pushing for a slot in the eight. They're going to be desperate to win and want to put games away. So the Cowboys line of 6.5, I think, is probably too short. I wish I was switched on enough to jump on probably what was a lower line during the Broncos game or during just after the Broncos game when a few of the injuries were occurring. But yeah, no, I wasn't. So I'm still happy to take a Cowboys minus 6.5 in this one. Obviously, we spoke to Mam and Haas being out, but on top of that, the Cowboys get Cotter back in as well. So uh, everything going well for the Cowboys, everything going wrong for the Broncos uh, is sort of a recipe for the Cowboys to win comfortably. So yeah, I'm happy to take them at minus 6.5. Let's jump into the next game of the round. The Dragons or the Dargans
The
versus
Dragons. Is that still going, is it?
well, I just said it's still going.
Yeah.
The versus the Bulldogs. Obviously, the Bulldogs are looking very good at the moment, but the Dragons obviously had a win against the Storm. So, two teams with some recent success. Does that sort of make you interested, super coach wise, in any of their players? Uh,
Not really, to be honest. I don't think there are really enough doggies players that are scoring consistently other than, say, Burton and Marnie that I really pick. You could probably maybe stretch to kick out, but even then, kick out, he scores well when he does, but I don't think his base is that great. Is that correct?
yeah, he doesn't base very well. Uh,
Yeah. Other than that, even the cow, so the drags, they've got the exact same problem. Like outside Lomax, no one's really consistently scoring except maybe Sloan.
yeah, I mean, well, the player we should talk about it is your boy Zachy Lomax. He's
Yeah.
fallen to 67K. I but didn't have other moves to make. He's probably someone I would be moving towards either this round or someone I probably will move towards moving forward if I was to pick up any more injuries in the centers or at fullback. Um, yeah, like he's going to score well for a Dragons team that's still a sniff at making the eight. And yeah, obviously he's goal kicking, so there's that upside. And I prefer him to someone like the second most traded player in this game, which is Jacob Carraz. Um, 735K, even though he does pull out good scores, he runs the ball a lot, all that type of stuff. Just rather someone with like goal kicking like Zachy Lomax, especially this Bulldogs team still doesn't look like they can put on a lot of points in many games. Would you agree?
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. Like, there's no guarantee. These doggies have got awesome defense, but they're winning through defense, not attack. I think it'd be silly to pick a doggies player that's an outside back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Kraz has been scoring consistently. If he was at 600K, I'd be pretty interested, but yeah, not at 735. Someone who's below 600K is Stephen Crichton, though. Do you think people are jumping on him just because he's a big name, or do you think he's a genuine option?
I think they're jumping on him because he scored 2 tries last week, and people are very short-sighted. Like, what's
Yeah,
he done other than that in the past couple of games?
yeah, and you have to take into account like that two tries was just for an 80, so that's not great, all things considered. Obviously he's a very good footy player, but in Supercoach we're not trading good footy players. We're trying to trade good Supercoach players, and those can often be two different things. Often they're one and the same, but they can at times be two different things. And Stephen Crichton is a good footy player, but it doesn't really convert to Supercoach as much as some other options. Yeah, aside from that, nothing too much interests me. Obviously, there's the guys that you've mentioned, but I'm not really a fan of trading them in. Um, let's talk betting in this one. What do you like and why do you like it?
Yeah, look, I think the Bulldogs they didn't play against the best team last week. I think the Dragons did. Based on that alone, I'm going to say the Dragons win with Lomax anytime try score at 340. Either I think this game could be a toss up though. It should be good. It should be a good watch.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I sort of gave reasons as to why the Dragons sort of produced that result they did last week. I think it was coming for the Storm to maybe not lose, but like get a shock. And I think the Dragons were coming to get a win as well. So, or perform better at least. So the while the win maybe was a bit shocking, it wasn't as shocking as some other people might have found it. So I don't think the Dragons are as good as some people might now think. And this Bulldogs team is very consistent. They're very consistent at putting teams away. By putting them away, I mean getting the win and not putting them away by winning a massive score. They had that one game where they put on like 40, but pretty consistently they win these low scoring games. So for myself, I probably expect it again to be another low scoring one, and I expect the Bulldogs to get home in a tight one. So the Bulldogs 1 to 12. You can get that around $3.50. I'll have the best odds above my head. But yeah, the Bulldogs 1 to 12 in this one. Yeah, that's just what they do, and I don't see that changing at all. Let's jump into the next game of the round, though, the Dolphins versus the Warriors. The Warriors team obviously hasn't been looking super impressive at the moment, and maybe there's some opportunity for the Dolphins team, who are one of those teams that are in and around the 8, to some players to put on some scores. Do you know what's going on with Jermaine Asako? Because I think there was injury news around him.
No, to be honest, I didn't.
Because I did hear it, but
Yeah, it's a big difference with the Finns if they don't have their goal kicker. But I just have to assume he's playing at this point, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah, injury update: Asako to be named. She's nursing an ankle injury. He obviously failed to finish the last game, but he is named. I guess like I don't hold him, but if you do, you would be holding. But yeah, don't look at trading him in at all for this round.
The most frustrating thing about that, though, is that he's playing the 2 o'clock Sunday game, so you can't just go and replace him.
Yeah,
Like, unless you somehow have a Tigers or Knights outside back, which I kind of hope you don't at this point, then that you're kind of really screwed if he doesn't play.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I would probably be trying to have enough depth in my team that I can make it work. I have Marzi, so maybe he's someone you could switch in late for him. Um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't be banking on any points from Osako. I think you could very easily be a late scratching in this one. Aside from that, no massive outs in either team. I'm just going to pull up each team's highest trading players. The number one is, the number 1 and 2 are those two front row forwards for the Warriors. Mitch Barnett being number 1 and Adam Blake being number 2. If you had to look to a front row forward, do you see the appeal of Mitch Barnett? Would you double up on Mitch Barnett and Adam Blake?
I don't like doubling up in the same position, to be honest. I think it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
You kind of worry. I mean, it's a bit different in front row forward, but you kind of hope to get points, and there's no guarantee that if you have a bad game, that means your entire front row. If they have a bad game, so that means their entire front row is just going to do terribly.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm honestly not a fan either. Yeah, I'm with you that I don't like doubling up on players from the one team, especially like it could be the week where they happen to rest. But like, I mean, unlikely because they're not going to make finals probably. But like, if they were to like, I mean, give up on the season, then they could rest players for like the last round if there was any niggling
Yeah.
injuries.
What about if, say, the Warriors happen to have the one rainy game of the round, and they both had low scores because of the poor handling?
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
another problem that can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And stuff like that can happen where they're both negatively affected in one week, and then that ruins your whole week, and then you don't make it through in that round. So I'm more keen to differentiate the team that both of my front row forwards are playing out. That's why I'm looking at Tarpany over someone like a Barnett when I already had hold Adam Fanua Blake. But yeah, at the price points, I might prefer Adam Fanua Blake at 687K, but obviously Mitch Barnett's is more of a pod at 12% ownership versus
Yeah.
46%.
Yeah,
So
fair enough.
yeah, both of those things to weigh up. Aside from that, Sean Johnson at 440K. Any interest?
I think he's playing well. I think he might be still injured, to be honest. I really don't. I want him to do well, but he's just not. And I feel bad for saying that, but he's just not doing good.
Yeah, I mean, he had a 67 on the weekend, not a bad score, but yeah, I'm just like I've already mentioned, I want to trade in players that I think are going to trade in players from teams that I think are going to make the eight, and I just don't see it from
Yeah,
the Warriors this season.
that's true.
Let's talk betting then in this one. What are you looking at? Why do you like it?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins going to run away with this game. As we saw last week, the Warriors just aren't bluing with Sean Johnson at the helm. It's really strange.
Yeah,
Like they're doing well without him. They're doing terribly with him. Nickel Klokstad's been in and out. I didn't really watch the game, but was he doing okay last week?
I didn't catch that game to be honest. Obviously,
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win. I think the Dolphins probably go 13 plus. Also got Bostock and Hammer anytime try scorers.
yeah, fair enough. For mine, just sort of betting wise, if there was a team you're going to play, it kind of has to be the Warriors because pretty much there's no one in the world that would have faith in the Warriors right now. They obviously lost to the Eels and they just don't look particularly impressive. So I can't really see much value in betting against the Warriors in this one. But I also can't convince myself to take the Warriors. The Dolphins are a team that are pushing for the eight in this spot. So they're going to be a lot more fired up to win than this Warriors team. So, and obviously it's a Dolphins home game as well. So yeah, probably can't really bet on the Dolphins or against them as well in this game. So no bet for myself.
Fair enough, completely understandable.
The last game of the round is the
Game of the
Knights.
round, if you will.
The game of the round, the last game of the round, the Knights versus the Tigers. Uh, this is where the Knights season sort of starts to turn around. I think uh, Knights probably win by 40, but we can talk about all of that in a second. Let's talk Supercoach. Probably what would be the highest traded in player this round if there wasn't for injuries. Kalen Ponga, the Knights fullback. Uh, as a try and take your biased hat off for this one, but yeah, do you like Kalen Ponga as a trade in?
The problem is the Knights aren't playing well with Kalen because Kalen's not getting good ball. He's not getting distributed ball. It's very obvious that when he's the only form of attack in the team, then it's just very easy to mark him. So I don't know if that's going to happen this game. I think Tigers probably aren't doing well enough to justify doing that. So I think the Knights, Kalen Pong could very easily go for 150 or 20 this game. There's no in between.
I think there definitely is in between. For mine, Kalen Ponga, you're saying how do people people can just target him? Well, why do we win 10 straight at the end of last season? He won daily
Because we had different avenues of attack. Hastings was attacking, Gamble was attacking, even Crossland was distributing attack at some points. Like now, the only ball that really is going to really be an effort ball is the one that goes to Pong. It's
Yeah,
very
no,
easy to tell that.
I still think we have different points of attack. We still have players in the team that can create stuff, but and then obviously Ponga's running off the back of that. But I can agree with you that definitely our halves aren't playing as well. Like the current halves we have aren't playing as well as the halves as Gamble and Hastings were playing in back
Yeah, and
end of
that's
last
meaning
season.
that Ponga isn't being freed like he was last season, which is a big problem. But
Yeah, yeah. But if you're looking at some of his poor scores and getting worried recently, I wouldn't read too much into that. Look at the teams that he's played. He's played teams like Penrith, and his run home is pretty crazy. So I think a 648K is a pretty slam dunk buy. Even if you do think our attack's been uh, hampered a lot by some poor performances in the halves. I think even worst case scenario, he's going to outperform that 648K. And there's plenty of situations where our halves start to go good and we do sort of increase those avenues of attack. He isn't as targeted as much. And then the upside, like we saw end of last year, it is pretty much limitless. So I think he's a pretty safe and solid trade in. And yeah, I would be moving heaven and earth to get him if I could for this one against the Tigers team that are not going to make the eight. They have no chance of making the eight, and a Knights team that may make the eight and haven't really looked good recently, so I think we wanted to put on a good performance. Um, yeah, I don't think I need to talk to how much I like Ken Ponga, but yeah, outside of that, people trading in Samuel Finu off 112, I think, on the weekend. I have him, I didn't play him, which was tough. Um,
Ouch.
would you be trading him in?
I think that scores a one-off. I don't think it's really worth trading him in. Don't chase the losses. Don't
Yeah,
chase the he's scored big. Don't go again.
yeah, don't chase last week's points for sure. Um,
Ooh,
yeah,
sorry.
no,
Pardon me.
bless you.
Thank
Um,
you, puppy.
yeah, no, I'm not a fan of trading in Samuel Finu. I do have Samuel Finu, but I'm not a fan of trading in. I think he had a double on the weekend, so yeah, I think you can sort of write that score off out of his scores. Although he isn't scoring badly, and I will play him probably at some point because I think the Warriors have a bye late in the season. I have to double check that, but I'm
Yeah.
not certain. But yeah, I think I may have to play him at some point. So I'm happy to play him every now and again. But I'm going to be bringing him in at 515K.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, aside from that, a lot of the trades it looks like people are making are just to make up like enough trades. Like Miles Martin's are good enough because he's a front row forward, second row forward dual. Aside from that, not too much in this game that I absolutely love. Like we're talking, obviously, some of these Knights halves could turn it on, but we don't know which one or who and if that even will happen. So I think there's a lot more risk around them versus someone like a Caleb Ponga.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Let's talk betting in this one though. In the head and heart bet, obviously I had the Knights head to head as a bet. I think no matter what we find a way to get it done, this one I'll be pretty fuming if the Tigers get a win in this one. But yeah, talk to what you. That's not really a best bet because it's like $1.28. That would be a bit of a shit tip to give out. But yeah, you
Yeah,
talk to
that's a
what
bad
you
one.
like in this one.
Yeah, look, I think the Knights do turn it on. I think we've shown that they kind of did stand up to Penrith, but they still didn't click properly. I think it's going to take a bit of a turd slinger like this to possibly make us jump. And we say how high? I think Ponga finally has his second coming and he scores a bunch of points. I'm going Knights 13 plus, Marzu Ponga anytime at $4.50.
Yeah, nice. I think it's a bet that probably wins. But probably not a bet I'm putting on myself. I don't
Yeah, definitely.
love betting on Knights games.
Look, if,
That's the
if we weren't playing the Tigers, I wouldn't be betting on them, to be honest.
fair enough. Fair enough. That is the last game of the rounds. We'll organize your punishment, your forfeit at some point.
And
Um,
you'll be doing it with me.
and I will not be doing it with you, but
If the Titans win, of course, which you agreed to, chicken.
I don't think I did, but we can check the tapes. Um, yeah, no, but yeah, hopefully we win a few. Hopefully everyone goes well in their finals. I've got Mickey this week in Supercoach finals, and
Good luck.
he's got a few players injured, so I should win. But now that I've said that, I probably won't win. But yeah, hopefully everyone goes well in their Supercoach finals. If do you have anything else to add?
No, time to head off. To be honest, I think we've covered everything we need to this week.
Yeah, we'll go fuck ourselves.